Well, I'm at the Madras Motor Racing Track in Chennai, and we've just completed another successful edition of the Autocar Track Day, as you can see by what I'm wearing. We set some really hot laps and they've gone down really well, but we have the track to ourselves for a few more hours, and of course what we want to do is drive a little bit harder, a little bit more, get a few more shots in on this wonderful track. However, things just have a way of not going according to plan, and Mother Nature had other ideas. But let's make hay while the rain pours, shall we? So what I'm going to do now is slip into something a little bit more comfortable. There are a lot of special cars at our track day today, but one really stood out for being not so special going around the track. Yes, it's the AMG S-Class Coupé, and even though it is the second most powerful car at this year's event, it's not hard to see why it ranks so low on the lap times list. So if scorching lap times aren't its thing, what is it for? Maybe this is a good time to find out. Now isn't this just great? Yes, as you can probably hear by the pitter-patter on the roof, it's still raining quite heavily, but I'm on a track in an AMG, so all is well in the world. Yes, it's the mighty AMG S63 Coupé I'm driving today. And that means a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 with 612 horsepower and 900 Nm of torque. And the best part is, unlike the E63 which has the same engine and the same power output, this one is only rear-wheel drive. So that means all that torque is only going through the back wheels, not all four, which is hilarious. Or rather, it would be hilarious if I was tempted to go anywhere near the extremities of this engine's power band on this day, on this track, in these conditions. At the moment, I have the car firmly set in comfort mode, and with all the water on the track and the suspension in its soft, wallowy setting, I might as well be in a boat. It's got that lovely swaying, rocking motion, but I have to say, nowhere near as much as in the S-Class sedan. This is an AMG after all, so even though it has air suspension at all four corners, it's slightly firmer, and even in comfort mode, there's reasonably good body control. It's kind of the best of both worlds, you see. And because I'm in no tearing hurry to drive this car fast right now, I'm going to enjoy not just what makes it an AMG, but also what makes it an S-Class. That's right, this one has all the trappings of the regular S-Class and then some. There's this deliciously trimmed dashboard right here in red leather and this thick slab of carbon fiber, because this is an AMG, that runs the entire width of the dashboard. And of course, the trademark twin 12.3-inch screens that make up the instruments and the infotainment. It's a lovely blend of old world luxury and new age tech. And there's a bit more of this S-Class and AMG duality in the seats I'm in. As you can probably tell, they're massive, massive thrones. But they're also really thickly bolstered. And the best part is, I don't know if you can see this, but every time you turn a corner, the outer bolster comes in to hold you in place. It's lovely. Now it's this one. Just a little AMG touch for your S-Class. Very nice. And of course, they've spared no expense with these seats because they are heated, cooling and massaging. So I'm going to choose one of these energizing comfort programs. I think I'll go for well-being. So now I've got a gentle massage that's also warming me and some pleasant music preset coming through the stereo speakers. Not just any stereo speakers, Burmester hi-fi stereo speakers. Not your average day at the racetrack then. But when you're done with all the heating, cooling, massaging and the energizing comfort system, you will at some point realize that you are in an AMG, and that means exploring a few sporty things about this car. So I'll start by turning it from comfort to Sport Plus. That sounds good, doesn't it? The classic AMG V8 rumble, downsizing, turbocharging, it still sounds amazing. But I'm still keeping things at a very medium pace on this track because it's hard to hit the apexes when they're underwater. And a lot of them are right now. Still, that slightly floaty ride from the air suspension, it's all but disappeared. Okay, it's no Ferrari, but it's definitely sporty. It's definitely got this true Grand Tourer vibe to it. I imagine when you're going on your cross-country journey and you come across a mountain road, put it in Sport Plus, you could very well have a good time with this thing. Although I haven't had a back-to-back comparison, I can safely say this is right up there with the Bentleys and Aston Martins of the world when it comes to luxury Grand Tourers. And it's always important to remember that AMG was an engine maker first. And so, find yourself an open straight like the one I've got here, pin the throttle. Ooh, over 600 horsepower, 900 Newton meters, and that sound. That's what an AMG is all about. Oh yeah. Now, as you'll have probably seen in our review of the sedan version of the S-Class, it does come with semi-autonomous self-driving tech. But that only works on highways where the lane markers are very clear. It would never work on a track, right? Because there are no lane markers, just chicanes. However, the S-Class does have a slightly unique system in which it can do autonomous driving based on a car in front of it. And would you just look at that, right on cue, my colleague Nikhil Bhatia has arrived in front of me in a BMW M5 no less. You gotta love Autocar Track Day, right? So I'm gonna activate the system and see what it does. Autonomous driving on a racetrack. Here we go. Hands off the wheel, feet off the pedals, and it is tracking behind Mr. Bhatia. I've set it to a much higher speed than him. I'll raise the speed, but it is maintaining his speed. Set it to 70, but it's holding 45, 49, because that's his speed right now. The question is, will it take the corner? Come on, car, you can do it. It's starting to steer. It's starting to steer, but it's too sharp a turn, and I've had to intervene. Oh, a lesser corner, and it might have worked. Yep, this is by far the strangest track day I've ever been on. But I don't care, because I'm having quite a blast in this large luxury AMG Coupé. Now, when he drove this car earlier at our track day, Naren Karthikeyan came back saying, this is not a car for a track, and I have no doubts about that. I could have told you that before he even sat in the driver's seat. But what I do find amazing is that still, despite its amazing, impeccable luxury credentials, it still manages to give you a little bit of a thrill. It is still an AMG, it still feels that way. And in short bursts at least, you can feel that. Don't bring it to a track, of course not. But when you're in your big metropolitan city late at night, when the lights have gone down and you have the roads to yourself, you really wouldn't mind one of these.